This video is sponsored by Dehancer and you get 10% off with Tim20 on dehancer.com. Hello, I found this clip from Rafael Nisida on Pexels and I'm going to show you how to color grade it in DaVinci Resolve. I downloaded the full HD resolution version and I imported it here in DaVinci Resolve. The first thing I notice is that the colors are very flat, so you're going to color manage it. Here in color management, choose DaVinci by RGB color managed. Click save, and I'm pretty sure this clip is shot with a Sony and S-Log3, so right click, input color space, Sony, and here you can find the correct profile. And as the colors are realistic now, it's probably the good profile, or at least the profile that is close to it. So as long as the colors look realistic now from here, it's a good point to start with the color grading. The first thing I always search for is if the white balance is correct. So search with your display qualifier focus on and this on the waveform. Search for a point that is white or gray in reality. And if you hover it here, also if you don't see the puppet, by the way, just make sure you're here, because if you're here, it doesn't always work. So here, this is the white point. I see at the right bottom in the scopes that the blue, green, and red circle are very close to each other, and that's very good. But I see that blue is a little bit higher than green and red. So this wants to say that the white balance rather points towards blue. So this is rather cold instead of warm. And the white balance is actually close to correct, but if I want to change it, then I can name this node white balance. And here in the offset, I can drag it away from blue, like this. And now you can see that the image is a little bit warmer. So if I hover here, it's even closer to each other, and blue is more at the bottom now. So now we have this small difference. Okay, the second thing that we're going to do is adjust the gamma curve. You can right click here, add node, add serial, or just click Alt+S. And now name this gamma correction. Okay, so here we can see our curves, and in the scopes you can see that the hair is the darkest point, and that is very dark. It's going towards black, so we're going to bring them upwards. So this here is the hair, so just click here and bring it a little bit up, and now you can see that you can see more details in the hair, or you can see them more easily at least. So also you can see in the scopes that the skin is very dark. It doesn't look like it, but if you bring this upwards, you can see that it starts to look a lot better. Now the gamma is okay. Also make sure that nothing in the scopes goes over 1023, because then you will have overexposure in those parts. Now we are going to adjust the skin maybe. So add a new node with Alt-S, name it skin. And actually there are a few ways with which you can adjust the skin. For example, here in U versus set, you can select the skin and now bring it up. And then you can see that the skin gets more colorful. So yeah, you can see here that this is a red part, but it's from the reflection of the pull. So the light reflects via the pull on her face, so that's why there's a pink part. If you saturate it, it gets more noticeable, but it's natural, so it's not that bad. Also, another way to adjust the skin is, for example, here is a feature that is named skin. So, for example, if we give it more saturation here, you can see that it gives the same effect, but also the hair gets adjusted together with the skin tone. That's not that bad. So now we went from this to this already. And what we can do as well is maybe add some creative nodes, for example, dark parts warmer. And what I'm going to do is go to the HDR, because here we can adjust very specific areas. So for example, if I adjust dark, then the white balance of the darks get adjusted. So here I have her hair, so if I want, for example, some blue in it, I can just do this. It goes from this to this. So now you have a small contrast with warm and cold. It's not really noticeable because it's soft, but you can colorate it like this. So now I'm going to make a vignette. That's another trick. Click here. Now you can click on the circle and now just drag it around her face and give it a good feather. Her whole face needs to be in this inner circle. So now we can invert it here. And if we decrease the offset here, you can see that your eye goes rather towards the girl here or the woman here. That's a good grading. So there are a few other tricks. For example, I want to make a global saturation. So here is U versus set. If I drag this upwards, everything gets saturated more. And you can see, because I gave the face already more saturation, it gets too much. So I can just lower this here. And now that's rather realistic color. So here I can just saturate, for example, the greens. So now the greens are rather gray. Now they're more green. So that's how you do it. It looks colorful to me. Also, you need to make sure that there aren't really artifacts. So in the skin here, if we zoom in, here the artifacts aren't really noticeable, but here they are. So that wants to say that we did it maybe too much. So like this, it's probably better. Or I don't want it too little. Okay, so we went from this to this, which is pretty good. So now I'm going to introduce the sponsor of this video, which is Dehancer. Dehancer is a plugin that gives you extra functions with the goal to emulate film looks. You get 10% off with Tim20 on Dehancer.com. On top of that, you can try it for free. So in the preferences, you can see here in video plugins that I have Dehancer. So once loaded and installed, you can search for Dehancer and add it on the node. Okay, and now you can see that the film look is added, so this color grading is more creative. So you can see that this look is rather green. It's a creative color grading that gets automatically added, and that's a standard film look that you get. But you can adjust all the sliders here, for example, warmer, and this is actually the film profile that's imported. You can choose between more, but let's say I want to stick with this one. If you make the shadow tone go towards blue, for example, and the highlights towards orange, you get this effect. Okay, eventually after adjusting a few sliders, I went from this to this with Dehancer. So the flowers have like an orange glow because of the halation that's checked, for example, that you can find here. And I also want to tell a little bit more about the skin. You can see that in the scopes, the red is still on top, and a realistic skin tone has always red on top like this. So this wants to say that the face is not too green or something, but for creative purposes, it can be like that. Don't forget to use Tim20 for 10% off if you like to use this plugin. So I see you in the next video. Bye. Thank you for watching.